Hello everyone, I'm a gang. Okay, let's get started here. Then we'll skip some simple creation content here. So first, obviously here, we'll start declaring our variables. First, we declare the time for this gathering. Obviously, we need to initialize it here. We'll just give it a try. Then we need to specify our current rendering component. Just stick it here. And obviously these variables, from a design perspective, should all be protected. Yes, we only protect what we need to care about. Then we'll put it here. And here we need a forward declaration. After this forward declaration, it's fine. We haven't created this method yet, but that's okay. Now let's take a look at this component. You can see the position of this component. Let's first switch to its header file. And you can see it can render a given font in the world. Render this text, and there are some common properties. For example, size, alignment, color. So it also inherits from the usePortment component. If you render it, you can see this is very important. It can actually involve structures that interact with rendering and some knowledge bodies of components, because in our rendering process, none of these things can be used. That is the rendering thread. It cannot use things that start with U. It will convert them into a structure starting with F, such a struct. Then the data inside this struct is passed to the rendering thread. After the rendering thread receives this data, it knows what work to render. You can see that these things are actually quite similar to what you see in Blueprint. These things are mostly the same. Look at these enums, right? This alignment mode. You often encounter it outside as well. Then we won't go into depth on the introduction of this component. Okay, after creating it here, this is what we need to update. So first, we are definitely in the constructor function. We turn this off here. This is a very good habit, to save performance as much as possible. And then we need to create this default component. This default component is it. Then it uses create default subobject to create it. And there's an error here. This is very normal, because obviously we just need to include the header file. Here we can just copy the contents of this header file over. Obviously it is here in this. Actually, this actor doesn't need to be included. Since you are inheriting from this actor, it should already be here. You only need to include the component you are missing. Here set the access method. Initialize some variables. Then in this UpdateTimer, because this time is initialized here, we don't need to initialize here. We can just initialize here. Okay. Then, so actually here we are showing a demonstration. It's almost the same. Keep this consistent. Okay, so here we can get our then we call this method call setText. This method is in our UMG. We call it often. Note that it passes in an FText here. Here, let's see if we can make it use any one. That is without localization. Let's just write a txt file. It should be fine based on our actual test. And here's an fmax. Then fmax needs to take two int values. The first int value is this one. The second int value is 0. Then let's see if it compiles. Stream from int fmace. There should be a missing parenthesis here. Let's check. It seems the compilation didn't pass here. Let's see what the reason is. I found that pasting it here doesn't work either. You can see it prompts that it cannot convert an f to a const FText form. You can see. Actually, it still cannot convert this. Convert this key yao xing as well. You can see that what it returns is actually an f real type. It just cannot perform this conversion right now. Then we might not be able to do it here. We might be able to use this FText. There should be an f1 string here. Okay, we'll pass another string in here. That should work. Okay, you can see this method can actually convert a string to a txt. But if you do this, you might not be able to do some localization, but we don't care about that aspect. Don't care. Actually, our side is just a simple a number, the conversion of this character step transmission. It is a very important piece of knowledge. That is, we are dealing with different encodings, then numbers, letters, and symbols. How do we transmit them over the network in different encodings, or convert them internally within UE5? And many times we spend a lot of effort doing some simple processing. Okay, after we finish writing this part, next, this is just a function. That is, to update this time, you can definitely pass a variable here to update this time. That's also fine. Okay. Next, let's write the other two functions. Now we'll write the ones related to our timer. We'll still make it protected. We'll write it in this position. This is the timer rebound. Advance the timer. As for this time handle, we'll make it protected. Write it in this position. This place we might need to manually include it here. Let's take a look. Where is it located? Obviously, it is under N. Then we use timer handle. We include it like this. And okay, well, there seem to be some red lines here. We dare not look. Then we create these two functions. The respective roles of these functions are for trigger at this moment. And note that this class may change, because in different engine versions, there will be a slight change. So sometimes we need to check the engine version number. Should have shown everyone before. It is in the engine's wave start under the vision situation. Take a look. Should be this file. Let's find it. Oh, that's it. This file under the record folder. Let's click into it. Here you need to check this filtered one to know which engine version you are using, and include path here. It's different in different engine versions. They made a simple adjustment like this. Well, so when you do version, when it comes to plugins across engine versions, this is a small detail. Okay, so in this case, when we execute countdown, we need to change this text directly to this special go. Obviously, you'll find that this cannot be done here, so we use this method. This might be because after the engine update, the usage has become more standardized. This is quite common. Then let's put this function below. This way it fits our logic better. But if you adjust this position, actually, this position also needs to be adjusted, like this. After doing this, we also have this advanced timer. Actually, we need to bind it in BeginPlay first. So it should be done here. Alright, let's bind it first. First of all, let's update our timer, right? Just make it update the time to 3. Then at this point, we execute again to get our timer manager, same as before. Okay, let's bind it. Note that we are binding the method of this class's context. Then click in and take a look. You'll see that first delight here is 1.0. It has a default parameter like this. Okay. So that's roughly it. Then let's implement it in detail. And this method is that we decrement first because it has been used once. Then after that, we update the time first. So this is our normal logic. Actually, it's a bit like recursion. So we need to click this exit condition here. Actually, we also use recursion in our work. So when is recursion used? One of the most fun methods it's a method called in-game thread. It's somewhat similar to this method. You can see this is, but it's not that one. It is. Anyway, there is a method. It determines whether we are currently in the main thread. Take a look at how this method is written. It is actually this method. You can see. So one of the things we do most often Actually, it just happens to be shown here. You can see this method. It is calling globals. You can tell it is a global method. Then it will determine whether it is currently in this game's way. You can see Edith's way, Snake way, Runner's way, her Y runners to we, and also extra and 3. Then here we actually have a large number of threads, etc. Okay, this is knowledge about multi-threading. Later, we will teach you how to extend your own threads, the engine, then what we most commonly do. The most common method is this kind of writing. We must ensure it is on the main thread. If it is not, we will make it crash here. Then there is another way of writing. If your plague giant needs to ensure it is on the main thread, then it is possible that others are simply not on the main thread. Then I will directly do it like this. You will find, right, if it is not on the main thread, I will make it execute on the main thread. This place needs, of course, some other operations still need to be done here. Some other operations need to be dispatched to this mainline layer. We will explain to you later how to dispatch it. This part needs to jump to the main thread. If you write, or if it's not on the main thread, we'll just report right here. Okay, now let's write our timer. The timer obviously needs to set an exit condition here. First, we turn off this timer because it has already reached 0. Obviously, the first thing is to turn off the timer. Then finally execute our exit condition. So overall, that's the timer's simple logic executed for everyone. Okay, now let's start it up. Let me show you something simple we often do when testing or developing a business feature. If we haven't done it before, we usually don't set up a complete framework at the very beginning because it's not suitable for debugging. We generally just hardcode all the plug-in code directly, then gradually expand it. This is actually a kind of agile development mindset. Okay, let's add another map here. Okay, let's save it. Let's name it timer 1. Here, we'll ignore this part. Timer 1. Okay, once we're inside, then our timer, we'll just drag it in directly. And note, we might need to rotate it. Let's make it face upward toward us. Then let's rotate it. It should be roughly correct. That's it. Now let's start it up. It basically meets our requirements. Next, let's expand on it for everyone. That is, make it more universal, so it can be applied to various places and situations. For example, we can use it for things like health packs that restore health, a countdown before the game starts, or similar things. All of these are possible. They can all use this. Extending and reusing it based on this foundation is completely fine.